Okay, so welcome to our second Zoom meeting of Book Chat with Ita and Amanda. This will be available via our website, the CNRL library website, or just look for Tamworth City Library. We will post it to Facebook as well. And if you rather just listen to it, we will have it available on Apple Podcasts and on Google Podcasts as well. So welcome to Susan, she's here, and Amanda. So we're librarians at Tamworth City Library, and we're part of Central Northern Regional Library. And Susan, would you like to? Oh, I'm Ita. This is
Amanda.
Sorry about that. And we have Susan. Susan, do you want to do a short introduction?
Yes, I'm a heavy-duty library user, so I use the Tamworth City Library all the time, and it saved my sanity through lockdown with their click and collect. So you just drive through and they'd have the books waiting for you. And that, yeah, my husband and I just used it all the time. Besides the chemist, that's the only place we went to for about 3 months. So you can imagine how important it became to us. So, yeah, and I like to keep up to date with new releases, and our library just gets them really quick. And if you jump in quick, you're able to get everything that's new out there that hits the bookshelves, and that's what I prefer, particularly Australian contemporary literature. That's my thing, but I will read other stuff.
Cool.
Excellent. So, Ida, do you want to start off mentioning our reading challenge
for
for 2020?
I'll see if I have it with me. I came prepared earlier, but I brought that much stuff up. Let's see if I have it here.
So have you got your reading challenge in yet, Susan?
No, but I've got one more book to read before I can put it in, because the only one I didn't have was the one with the colour in the title.
Ah, yes.
I mean, I could have snuck in and said that I'd read a book, but I was trying to be honest. So I've got it sitting there. I've got to the 14th, is that correct?
Well, you've got until the 16th.
16th. I will have that book read. It's the next in line. And then I will submit my card.
Cool.
Excellent.
Yeah, so we're drawing it on the 16th, so if you can have it in by the Monday, that would be really good.
Monday the 14th. Don't worry, it's in my calendar, and I'm furiously reading to try to get through it.
Cool.
Excellent.
So I was going to show you it, but the card is actually sitting on my desk.
I'll go and get mine. Hang on.
Oh, cool. So Susan's going to get hers. If you have done the reading challenge, please hand in your full card. If you haven't, that's fine. You can always join us next year.
So you'll have a chance of winning a gift voucher from Collins Bookstore.
Yes.
What's the prize? Tell me the prize.
The prize is a book voucher from Collins Bookstore.
Ooh, I want to win now. Okay, so
$30.
Yes.
How much?
$30.
That's okay. It buys a book. So that's what it looks like. The people out there. So you have to read the book that's in the circle. So it's 9 books, and they're all different. And that was very challenging for me because there's some categories I don't particularly like. So that pushed me. I had to read a graphic novel for the very first time. And there was one in particular that I completely loved that won a Pulitzer Prize. So that was good that I was stretched. And I do not like science fiction and fantasy, but I did read one. What did I read? I can't remember, but I did read something that the library got in for me because I rang up with, I don't want to do this. What can you recommend? So I was helped to find a good graphic novel, and lots came my way, and the science fiction or fantasy novel, which, I have to look back in my history to find out which one I chose. But so I've now got one with read in the title on my nightstand, and that will have to be read by the 14th.
Well done.
Well done.
But it was really, I don't know, did you come up with this challenge before COVID?
Sorry?
Was this challenge thought up before COVID?
Yes.
Yes.
It was part of our 2019 Library Lovers Day promotion.
Because the Library Lovers Day, the theme was uncover something new.
Right.
So we thought if we do a reading challenge, people will uncover out of their comfort zone.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And it just coincided beautifully with COVID.
Yeah. I had the same issue, Susan, with the graphic novel.
Yeah.
I don't really read them, but I found River Time by Trace Bella so gentle and lovely. It's a kid's book, but any age. Yeah, it's just about calming down and going into nature, and it was just lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll be interested
You read
in that
one? Too? Yeah.
Can you find that for me and do a click and
Yeah.
collect for me?
Yeah, we'll do that.
We will post it to our blog.
Yep.
Yes.
So you can read up on that.
Well, Shirley found me, I think it was Shirley that found me Muss by Art Spiegelman, which was
Oh, Mouse, yeah.
Mouse, is it? Oh, I thought it was
Oh, well,
Mouse.
in German, I don't
Mouse.
know.
It was stunning. It was just blew my mind.
Yeah.
It was about the Holocaust, and he wrote it after many sessions with his father, who'd been a survivor. And so he'd been a graphic novelist, but wanted to work on this with his father, as his father was getting close to the end of his life. And it was just incredible, the detail of one person's life and all the people he knew going through this Holocaust. And it was just so gritty, and to be done in a comic style really threw me, like, you know, that hadn't been done before. And he won a Pulitzer Prize for it. So, look, I highly recommend Muss or Mouse by Art Spiegelman. Everyone should read it. And I think it'd be great to be on history and English reading lists for students, because it really is an easy way to get your head around a big idea or big concept or a big part of history. Actually, I'm going to buy it for my niece because she's really into that at the moment.
Oh, cool.
There you go. Just
Well,
a brainwave.
see, that's with the challenge. You would have never found that book if you
No. So that's even that by itself is enough to
Yeah.
have for it be a worthy exercise.
Yeah.
I just all the books I read were fantastic. So I've got one more to go.
Cool.
Excellent.
So I found some of the little challenges we read anyway, like an Australian author or an award.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
And sometimes I read one that I could go, oh, where will I put it in? Because it could be an Australian author, it could be an award winner, it could be, inspiring or whatever we had. I found the hardest one, the graphic novel like you, but also the one with the colour.
Yes, that's my one I've got to do.
Yeah, so there were lots with colours, but just one that I really liked. I found it hard. Yeah. But I did get there.
I think I've got one more, and that's a book about a bookstore or a library.
I read heaps of them.
I can't remember which one I did, but yeah, I really enjoyed that. The one I did read, I have to go back, and it's been a while since I wrote that. Yeah, I enjoyed the one I got to read. Actually, it was incidental because I read it and then realised it was about a bookstore afterwards. So I thought, oh, good, I can tick that box.
Yeah, there's more books than you realise about books or about libraries or about bookstores. There's so many, and I love them. So I think I've got 3 or 4 about them. This year. So that was an easy one for me. Yeah.
It's always fascinating because we've always wanted to own. Everyone who loves books wants to own a bookstore and run it, don't they?
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so that's about it about the reading challenge, I think. So get your cards in by Monday, hopefully, so we can draw the winner on Wednesday next week. Yeah. Cool. What else? Oh, so this is the last one for this year.
It is.
So what is the book that stood out for you this year?
Oh, for the whole year? I'm pretty sure. When did I read it? But if I read Bridge of Clay this year, it would be it. But I'm not actually sure. I think I might have read that last year.
I had to go through all my list of books and I still can't pick one.
Look, I have to say Gentleman in Moscow.
Oh, I love that one.
It's on my
to read. Good book. I found it was a really hard read to start with. Like, I just kind of couldn't get my head into it. So it was a slow start for me. And I've got a friend, like a pen friend in Fremantle, who's an ex-librarian now, works in a bookstore and knows Tim Winton and all these authors because she does the PR for the bookstore, and they're the main one in Perth to do all the launches for all the new books. So she gets to meet all the authors, and she actually sent me a signed copy of Cloud Street.
Oh, wow.
So I love, even though I've never met this person, I love her to bits. And when I was struggling with it, I sent her a message saying, like, is this any good? Should I keep going? Because she reads everything. And she said, yeah, you got to keep going because you're going to love the ending. And I went, okay. So I did struggle a bit at the beginning, but I did keep going, and I'm so glad. It's almost a book in 2 parts. The first part is so important because it sets up everything for the second part. So you've got to read that. The second part is that page turner, literary page turner, where you just stop cooking meals and stop doing anything. You just want to read and read and read until your eyes fall out of your head to finish it. And it was just like the last third, I just read. So what did you guys think of it?
Oh, I loved it, that one. I actually, funny you mentioned this one because I had it in my staff fix little cubby hole, with the library. I had it a few weeks in there because all the new ones were out, so I went back to older ones.
Yep.
Yeah, so I put that up, but it's gone again. So I love that one. It's so gentle. Yeah.
Yeah. Really interesting and different.
Yeah. Have you read it?
I haven't read it. It's on my bookshelf waiting for me. So maybe I'll add it to my Christmas reads.
Oh, your huge list.
I know.
Yeah. So
I think you'll love it, Amanda.
Pardon?
I think you'll really love it, Amanda.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
It's slow paced but lovely, just gentle and
So what stood out for me 2020? There were actually memoirs. So I have 2, and one is the Rural Diaries, Love, Livestock and Big Life Lessons Down on Mr. Farm by actress Hilary Burton Morgan.
Oh, I remember you telling me.
Yeah, so it's a memoir just about love, family, loss and simple living and finding your community. So her and husband are both quite well-known actors, and they were looking for just a simple life and somewhere to move to, and they moved just in a little community outside of New York.
Okay.
And what I really liked about it was the community didn't even, they didn't promote the town on their celebrityism. They just embraced them for who they were and who they wanted to be. And that's what I enjoyed about it. I mean, I found it quite inspiring. It made me laugh. It made me cry. And it did leave me inspired. And it was basically a story about, facing your fears and don't be afraid to follow your dreams. Yeah, so.
Oh, good. Sounds great. Sounds like a good read.
Yeah, so I'd recommend it to anyone that's just after a feel-good, light, easy read. Yeah.
But true story.
But yeah, it's a true story.
Cool. And what's the other one? You said 2.
My other one was Becoming by Michelle Obama.
Okay.
I just thought that was amazing. I just really loved reading about her and Barrick's both personal and professional lives, how they got to where they were. And I thought that every challenge that she came by, she just responded with such grace to those challenges. And it just reminded me that you should be kind throughout your life, and that you should use your voice because you can make a difference no matter how small a difference that may be.
Yeah,
because you never know what sort of impact you will have on another person's life.
That's right. Yeah,
should always
totally. Yeah, I haven't read it because I'd gone through a lot of memoirs at one time. Like I'd read about 4 in a row, and I just it was there to kind of sitting there waiting, and I thought, no, I can't do another memoir on. And I actually I thought, well, I am interested, so I listened to the audio book of it for about 20 minutes or so, just to get a feel for her voice and that. And I know I'll come back to it and read it. I'll look forward to that.
Yeah, I actually listened to it too because it's quite a thick book and I didn't have time, so I listened to it. But you can, she must do a lot of public speaking because she spoke quite slow. And every now and then I thought, oh, come on.
Yeah. I must admit, I found that irritating too.
Yes, I find it very slow. And I loved her story, but in the beginning I was thinking, oh, surely Barack can't be that good. But maybe he is.
Well, I'm a bit in love with him, So, I've got a bit of a crush.
Yeah.
I read his book Dreams of My Father and
Yeah, me
just
too.
completely fell in love with everything about him. And
Yeah.
I mean, he's absolutely gorgeous and he's tall. So, you know, got a bit of a crush. I don't worry about movie stars, but him, yep.
Yeah.
And so I've actually asked for his latest book off any birdies that are listening for Christmas.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I
Cool.
bought it.
Yeah. We have it
Yeah.
in the library, but I think there's a lot of reservations on it.
Yeah, it's one I want to own.
I just think they're so graceful.
Yes.
Like they just respond
Yeah.
to things
I like
without,
how Michelle says, when they go low, we go high.
That's
I really
right.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess without getting political, they even look even more gracious in the current climate.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, they were fantastic. Yes, I didn't read that this year. I think it was last year.
Yeah, I read it earlier this year.
Yeah. I went through my books from last year, but I've read that many so I printed some out from my Goodreads. Some, yeah. So I don't actually know which one to choose because I've read so many. So what I'll choose, I might just choose an Australian one. So Honeybee. I really enjoyed that one. But that was, quite recent. Oh, a kid's book. I'll talk about a kid's book. Hollowpox. It's a Nevermore series. It's, if you like Harry Potter, this is sort of, no, you don't. Okay. So it's magic, but not Harry Potter magic. Mm-hmm. And it's about a girl. So girls that want to be strong and, it's a coming of age, but she's only 11. And the second book, she's 12. The third book, she's 13. It's just lovely. It's written easy, it's easy to read, good quality kids book. Yeah. So I read it because I was reading the one, the happy, what is it? Ever After, Happy After. Can you read that? I haven't got my glasses on.
The Secret Life of Bees?
No.
Oh. Is it that one?
Let's put my glasses on. Behind the Beautiful Forevers. That's the one so I was reading that for book club and it was very depressing. So I needed to read something alongside it that was happy. So this kid's book just ticked all the boxes for me. I think I gave that 5 stars. So
that's good.
You're a hard with your stars. You don't get many stars.
Oh yes, I'm very hard. There's only 1 and 5.
Yes.
Others can join it, but something's got to be as good as Bridge of Clay, and I can't see it coming yet.
Yeah, Bridge of Clay, I really enjoyed that one too. But yeah, so I picked that kids book for my best book this year, and Honeybee, Craig Silvey, and of course Phosphorescence. But we've talked about that last week, so I won't go into that again. Yeah. So,
I'm looking forward to reading Honeybee. It's there in my pile. I'll get to it over the holidays probably.
Yeah.
Well, that actually brings us to holiday reads.
I know. I'm so excited. I love this time of year, Christmas, because I get time off and it is the time where I actually really immerse myself into reading. I just lay on the couch under the air conditioning and read. So I have a Christmas list, which you can see on my blog, but the books I've actually chosen to read is Honeybee by Craig Silvey. So there you go. Wild by Kristen Henner. And The Song Teller by Dolly Parton. It's a beautiful coffee table book about her songs that she's written.
Oh, cool.
Yes, and New South Wales Public Libraries are promoting a New South Wales Reads, which is a one book, one region wide event. Right. And they've chosen Luckies by Andrew Pipos.
Can you spell it?
Pippos.
O-F.
O-S.
Pipos. O-S. Pipos. Okay.
So I'm looking forward to reading that. And the last one on my list that I put on the blog was The Good Sister by Sally Hepworth.
Oh, we met her.
Yes, we did. Yeah, she wrote The Mother-in-Law, which is very funny. So after today's talk, I've added The Gentleman of Moscow on my list.
Yes, you'll love it.
I love that one too,
Yeah, Phosphorescence.
I think if you start with that, you'll want to read for the rest of your life and you'll never go back to work.
I still want that now.
Yes. We have to retire.
I know.
Yeah.
Reading should be a profession.
Yes. Maybe you should be a book reviewer.
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
We could.
We could be.
Yeah. We do that.
Yep.
What have you got on? Was that all for you?
That was all on my list, but hopefully I do get through a few more, because I've got a bookshelf full and they're doubled,
Oh,
plus a half a shelf in a cupboard full of new books
to read.
So do you just go to Collins, pop along to Collins and buy all the books, do you?
She does.
That's where your wage ends up.
That's where my wage ends up. Yes.
See, I get them from the library.
Yes, I do. I only buy, I collect particular authors like Grenville, Winton, and a couple others, mainly Australian authors, Ruth Park. And so I will always buy their latest book. And I'll get books as presents, but apart from that, I'm a library user because I just can't afford it now. I'm retired.
Yeah, the way we read that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have anything on your Christmas list to read?
Okay, at the moment I'm reading 2 books. This one, Tara,
Oh, yes.
Okay, so I'm 106 pages in. So I can talk about that a little later if you want me to. And I'm nearly finished Big Magic, which was by the author of Eat, Pray, Love.
Yeah.
This was recommended by an Archibald finalist as something I should read. So when she was mentoring me in art, and I'm just reading it at night because it's not that riveting, but it's very inspiring and motivating you, and it talks about how not to let any creative opportunities and inspirations escape you. Like when they come, when you get an idea, you have to chase them down and stop doing other things, unbusy your life and just get on with it. So if I get an idea for art, I need to get serious and follow it through rather than go, oh yeah, well that's good, I'll get to that, because then as she mystically puts it, it'll run away and go to someone else and you'll lose it forever. I thought, yeah, right, okay, but whatever. So it's a little bit like that, a bit fanciful, which doesn't agree with me, but her basic ideas in this book are really sound. So on my bedside table I'm going to have to go and get them, sorry.
Well, in that case, we'll talk about what's on your reading list for Christmas.
I have 3 book club books to read. So
that could be thanks to me.
Yes. I will put my glasses on so I can see. Mm-hmm. Let's see if I actually got...
My apologies.
Oh, you're back already. God, that was quick.
Yeah, sorry, were you doing something? What are you doing?
You go, Susan. What are you...
So this is the one with the colouring title that I have to...
Oh, the Red Letter Days. I've seen that. It's new, isn't it?
Yeah, it's new. It just popped up when I was looking for other books as one of your new acquisitions. So I thought, okay, it's got red in the title, I'm having it.
Yeah.
And the back seemed quite interesting, the blurb. So that as soon as I read that, I can then drop this into the library.
Yes.
And I have this ready to go then.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
You had Chris Hammer come to the library for an author talk, and I got to have a chat with him for about 20 minutes afterwards. Lovely guy, a journalist by nature, but he says that it's easy to write books and be a journalist.
Really?
Yeah, he said, because you don't have to do so much research to make sure you got your facts right, because you're just making it up. So he said it's much easier. I loved his first one that you got in for One Book, One Region.
Scrublands?
What was it called again?
Scrublands.
I absolutely loved that book. People said it was a bit too complex, but I just loved, because I'm not really into crime fiction, so make it complex and I'm not going to read Agatha Christie, but I will read Scrublands. I tried his second book, Silver, I think it's called.
Yes. Yeah.
Had trouble getting into it, and I think it was me, not him, so I just put it aside and I'll come back to it.
Yeah.
So I'm actually really looking forward to this. The blurb on the back sounds like my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Crime fiction is something new for me, so I'm looking for good crime fiction writers. I don't mind it, a bit of mystery. And then after that, I want to read Honeybee.
Yes.
A friend, and she's going to lend it to me. And then I'll be looking around for something else, but that'll keep me going for at least a month and a half, or maybe a month. But anyhow, it'll keep me going for a little bit, and then I'm sure the library have other things for me. So I'll just
yes.
So it was funny you mentioned Silver, because I had only recently read Silver because Trusts came out, and I actually found it really hard to get into too.
Okay.
It wasn't a page turner like Scrublands.
No.
And I actually, like, I liked the fact that you got to know Martin and Mandalay personally a bit better than what you did in Scrublands, because they focused more on the actual crime that happened in the town. But I did think that it was too long. Like, I think he tried to just put every factual thing and every explanation into the book. And in some places it was quite repetitive. And so I did nearly give up, and I thought, no, keep going. You've bought the last book. So I kept going. And I just kind of felt that it was probably 100 or so pages too long.
Did you enjoy it in the end, though? Was it worth it?
Look, I did enjoy it because I liked what the story was about. But I just thought, because he just put so much stuff into it, that just kind of made me just want to give up. Not so much the actual story itself. It was just too much information. That shouldn't really probably be in there.
Like one of Peter Fitzsimon's books. He doesn't know what to leave out.
I know.
I read about Eureka Stockade. I thought, Eureka, this is half of this would be in a good book. Making me have to read through all that to finish was unfair, because so much of it could have been culled. I mean, it needed a good edit. I think his editors must be scared of him.
Yes. Possibly. He is a bit scary in real life.
Yeah. He is. Yeah.
Very tall. With Peter Fitzsimons, I can only get through his books if I listen to him.
Okay. Yeah.
Because otherwise.
But I really love I read Batavia, and
I listened to that.
That was brilliant. I mean, it was gave me nightmares, but boy, oh boy, what a brilliant read. And I think because it was so riveting, I didn't mind all the detail. And I listened to it on Conversation Now with Richard Feidler about him, obsessively talking about what he did to get the book out there and all his research. So I actually didn't mind how much detail he went in for Batavia, because it was a page turner.
Yeah.
But Eureka wasn't that, and so I did mind all the stuff. And it's put me off him, actually. I'm not sure that I'll read another one of his books.
Yeah. So with crime fiction, you read a lot of that, don't you?
Yeah, so I read a lot of crime fiction. So I've, of course, one of my favourite crime is the James Patterson, The Women's Murder Club series.
Okay.
Yes. So it's up to, they start off in numbers. So, you've got the first case, and then he'll do something with the second. And so they're up to number 21, will come out in 2021.
Oh, cool.
And it's just about women. Like, so one of them is a San Francisco police detective. One is a crime reporter. One of the characters is a lawyer. And then the other character is a medical examiner. And they became friends, and they started this women's murder club to help solve crimes that happened in the book. And it's good because James Patterson, I mean, they're probably not the most well-written books, but they're short chapters, so they're quite page-turnery. You could actually read one in a day. And it does actually grip you in. Like, it's quite addictive. And Jane Harper's another good crime writer. Although I did read Survivors, and again, I did like the story. It wasn't as page-turnery as The Dry. But the writing was better than what the Dry was. I liked the writing style there.
I love the setting in Tasmania. The setting was so much part of the book.
I thought so too. I imagined myself walking along the beach. And, Yeah.
And being
Yeah.
murdered? Is that what?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, I didn't imagine myself being murdered, but yeah, so I quite enjoy her. Ruth Ware is a UK author, and she does really good thrillers as well. They're quite page gripping, and Shirley and my favorite is also Shari Lepara. Don't know, Shirley, if I've pronounced that last name correctly, but she has done amazing page turners.
Is she from The Couple Next Door?
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
so
I've
The
read
Couple
that
Next
one.
Door. Yeah. So I'll put them.
I think
Shari
I started
Lapena.
reading that.
Shari
Lapena.
Lapena. Excellent. But we can put some of those up on the blog for you to have a look at, Susan, and
Yeah.
get your next crime pick.
Yeah.
What about Australian crime writers, though? I much prefer an Australian crime writer because I like the sense of place, and I've travelled around Australia. Gary Disher, have you read him?
We do have his books,
No.
but
Yeah.
I haven't read them.
I haven't read.
Yeah, because I think that'll be my again, this friend who buys a lot of books because she's still working. She's got the latest Gary Disher and Honeybee, so I think she said, come and raid my bookshelf, I trust you.
Yeah.
Because we're the same. We don't like lending our books unless like we really trust that person, because I've lost a lot of books over the years by people not giving them back to me, which really actually can really affect your relationship and friendship with that person, because you've got to ask them for it back, and then they say, oh no, I gave it back to you, I don't have it anymore, and you go, well no you didn't, but I can't say that now, and then they suddenly find it 3 years later and you go, I told you so. It really irks me, like I go, so I don't lend books because I like friendships too much, but this one person is my closest friend and we wouldn't do that to each other, so I'll borrow from her.
Yeah. All right. So when you left, I asked Ita to go through her Christmas reading list for 20.
Oh, right, yes.
So
I will put my glasses on so I can see it.
She had to find the paperwork.
Yeah, I had to, because I have so many.
You did that. I saw that. You recommended a children's book and.
Oh yeah, no. There was what we have read already.
This is a whole list.
This is what we want to read in our Christmas break.
Okay, right.
So I have two that I probably wouldn't have picked myself, but they're for the book club kit. But when I read at the back, I thought, oh, that's actually really interesting. So one is called Extinctions by Josephine Wilson. Have you read that one yet already?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. And the other one is called Go, Went, Gone by Jenny Erpenbeck. So those two are for a book club. And then I have Anxious People by Frederick Beckman.
Yeah.
That's for another book club. So I'm really looking forward to that one because I read A Man Called Ove by him.
Oh, yes.
Britt Marie was here. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. And then for myself, a really old one, Walden, Life in the Woods by Henry David Thoreau. I've wanted to read that for a long time just because, he goes in the woods and just basically be calm and meditate and be in nature. That's what I think it is. So I just wanted to read that. And another one I've had on my list for ages is The Pilgrim. Oh, I Am Pilgrim.
I loved that book.
By Terry Hayes. So it's quite a big book. So every time I take it out from the library and then someone reserves it or I haven't had time to read it. So this time, Christmas time, when I have my break, I'm going to sit down and read it.
You'll actually get through, even though it's a big book, you'll get through it. It is just like watching an action movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's quite graphic. Like, it's graphic.
Yeah.
But it is amazing. And Terry Hayes is supposed to have another one out.
Because this is quite old.
Called The Year of the Locust, but it keeps being pushed back. So I don't know what's happening because I've been waiting patiently for it. But I'd definitely recommend that.
Someone recommended
Is that the magpie is that about the magpie?
No.
Oh, okay, all right. Sorry.
No, that's Sam Bloom.
Oh, right,
yeah. I've read that one. But that's not very big. This one's big. Yeah, it's called I Am Pilgrim, Terry Hayes.
And it's kind of, it's probably a bit of a crime thriller.
Okay.
Jason Bourne-ish.
Okay.
Read.
Yeah,
someone
like
recommended it to me years ago, but still haven't gotten to. But I will this time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good book.
Yeah. So what are you reading now?
So
Oh, I know. Let's ask Amanda how she got on with her 1,500 pages book.
So I'm still reading The Fiery Cross by Donna Walden from the Outlander series we talked about
okay.
last month. And I've still got 400 pages to go.
You're doing well.
I am doing well, but it's just so long. But I did start reading it for a reason because I had other things that I needed to do, so I didn't want to start reading a book and finishing that off and then going to start another one. So, yeah, I just, yeah.
No,
It
it's good.
sounds like a punishment to me.
Yeah, it does a bit, doesn't it? But she wants to read it before she watches the series.
Yes, so
Oh,
to
okay.
finish reading it before, although I did, I succumbed and watched the first episode of it. And again, it started nothing like the book.
Do you hate that?
Yes.
I don't like that when that happens.
No.
Yeah.
That's why I always want to read the book first.
Yes, me too.
And then be really annoying when you watch it with someone else. You go, that's not what happens in the book.
Oh, I know. I went to the movies once to see the Harry Potter film, and the person I was with sat through the movie the whole time critiquing the movie against the book.
Oh.
And I was like, yes, I understand, but come on, can I just watch the movie?
Yes.
And you didn't actually say the second bit, and you should have.
Pardon?
You didn't say the second bit, come on, I just want to watch the movie, and you should have said that.
Yes, I should have said that.
Yes. You should be an old-fashioned librarian. I have to shush you.
Yeah.
We don't do that anymore.
No, we don't.
So you're reading the one book still?
I'm still reading the one book. So that's why I'm looking forward to Christmas, so that I can actually sit down and read.
And branch out.
And branch out.
Cool. So what are you reading, Susan?
I'm reading, so I thought I'd come back to it, Tara June Winters, The Yield, which won the Miles Franklin. I put off reading it only because I'd read some things that were by Aboriginal authors, and I just needed to take a break, but I've come back to it. And I can understand why it won, because I think it's a very worthy novel to win such a prestigious award. It's a little bit hard for me to get rolling with it. I'm enjoying it, and I'll certainly see it to the end, and I think that some really interesting things are going to be unraveled. So there's a lot of things that have been put up there. You know, there's a missing sister. Grandfather's just died, and she's come. The main author, August, who's living in London and wants to be an author, has had to come back for a grandfather's funeral. And as soon as he's died, then the grandmother is going to be kicked off the place where they live, because it was government owned. So, and a tin mine is buying in on that. So there's that conflict that's going to be going on. So there's a lot of things that are being foreshadowed as big things that are going to happen during the book. So there's good literary devices being used. The thing that's slowing down for me a bit is there's different voices, which is okay, and jumping over the timelines, going backwards and forwards in time, which I'm managing, but it's slowing me down a little bit. But the grandfather's voice, when he's the narrator in his chapter, it's really unusual. I've never seen anything like it before. I have to show you so you can see why it's slowing me down. He writes like in a dictionary. So Okay. So he'll water, and then it gives the Aboriginal words for water, and then I'll write something that is relevant to the book about water. But it's kind of reading all these little bit of dictionary entries is slowing my flow of reading down. And so I find when I come to that chapter, I'm going, okay, right, I was just getting into it and now you're slowing me down. And so I'm finding that frustrating, interesting, but frustrating. But I have a feeling, I don't know really what's going to happen because I haven't read any reviews, but I have a feeling that Dictionary of Aboriginal Language is going to be a big point of the whole book. So, because the whole, in the back, there's just pages and pages of Aboriginal language. So I think it's about saving the language, and I think that's going to be a big part of the book. I don't know. I just get a sense it is. And then there's another character, a reverend, who's writing back in, I think, the late 1800s, back to England, saying basically really bad things are happening here to the natives, as he calls it, and that I feel I'm going to be killed, and I really need to let someone know what's actually going on here. It's not good, you know, things aren't good here for the Indigenous people, and someone needs to know, because people down in England don't know what's really happening. So there's lots to this book, and it's going to be a good read. But, you know, I just get going, and then I get these dictionaries, and then get going and get these dictionaries. So that part is something I haven't come across before, so I'm adjusting to that. But apart from that, I'm enjoying it. It's not a page turner for me yet, but I think it will be. But I'm certainly going to stick at it to the end.
Yeah, I read that one for book club, Tara,
Yeah.
and we had a great discussion about it, because some people really dislike the dictionary bits like you, and others loved it. I loved them. I thought they were so interesting, and it was nice to, you know, just stop. And
Right.
yeah, so for me, there were lovely little bits in between.
Yeah.
So let's stop, think about the rest of the story, and read, you know, from a different perspective. But for me, it was so interesting, that book, so much to discuss. We had a really good discussion about it. I think I gave it 4 stars. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just keen to finish it, and I've got to finish it so I can read the one with red in the title for the reading challenge. So I've got a bit to get through by the 14th.
Yes, that'd be good.
Yeah.
What am I reading?
Yes, I'm reading with all your long list.
Yes, I have so many. And this one is what I'm reading. Oh, glasses. This is what I'm reading in my lunch break. It's called How to Be Australian by Ashley Blunt.
Oh, yes.
She's a Canadian who comes to Australia, and it's so funny to read for me, because she has a lot of the same experiences. Like, she hears this sound, and when I heard it for the first time, I woke up the next morning and I was staying with my auntie, and I said, I didn't know Australia had monkeys. And she goes, we don't. I said, but I heard them in my bedroom, and there were kookaburras.
Oh, yes.
I didn't know, but she said the same thing. And then another colleague of mine said, well, actually, in America, they use the kookaburra sound as a soundtrack in movies for monkeys.
Wow.
So no wonder I thought that.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. So
yeah,
you've got a good
I
ear.
didn't know that. And then when I got a little bit further in the book, she actually says that. Yeah, so it is definitely, that's what they use. But just about the sun and the big insects and the spiders, and there's a lot of the same experiences. But also some parts where I thought, that's a bit harsh, where she's talking to Europeans, her European friends, and they all say, Australia has so many rules. But for me, I didn't experience that. I think they're good rules. Like in Europe, they bring their dogs and cats into restaurants and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm happy that we don't.
No,
you know,
you don't want that. No.
Things like that, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
but it's
interesting.
interesting to read it from a Canadian perspective, and I'm coming from Holland, but I've been here so long. But yeah, a lot of the same experiences. So it's funny to read.
Yeah. I noticed that one. I thought it was good. There's so many books. It's just too many books and not enough time.
Oh, I know.
know.
So many books. Not. So I've just finished on the weekend The Godmothers by Monica. Is McInerney? I don't know how you pronounce it. McInerney? I don't know how you pronounce it. So there was a big book, but really well written and easy to read. A lovely story, nothing too taxing, but lovely for a weekend in the hammock. Like,
Nice.
you just read about this girl with her godmothers, and it's set in Australia, in Scotland, and Ireland. It's just lovely.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, that's good.
just a lovely story, you know, when you don't want too much violence or crime or, you know, too literary. It was just lovely. Like an in-between book when you just need a rest. Feel good.
Well, that's good to know when you're choosing Christmas presents for people. to know there's a book out there that most people are going to like.
Yes. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed that one. What else am I reading? Oh, I've just started this one. It's called The Invisible Life of Eddie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. So it's one that Susan won't like because it's fantasy. But it's very interesting. This is this girl set in 1700. And she doesn't want to get married. She wants to stay single, stay her own person. She doesn't want to stay in the village where she's growing up in France. And then there's this lady, an old lady, it's like a witch sort of lady. And she's like, well, just pray to the gods, not the one God in the church, but the old gods, but never pray after night because you don't know who's going to answer. So on her wedding night, wedding day, the night before, it's still light, I can still pray. So she's praying away, and while she's praying, the light goes down, so it's dark, and she didn't realize. So one of the dark gods heard her, and he granted her wish. But now it gets interesting because she got her wish. She didn't want to be with anybody. So he made her life that people would forget her as soon as she walks out the door. So she would talk to you, and then if she walks out the door and she comes back, you would have forgotten her. So when I'm at the bit now where it first happened, so she's going, but I just talked to you, and I'm thinking to myself, how would I feel if everybody would just forget me as soon as you're out of the sight? That would be so hard. I love my relationships. I like my friendships. I like the history you build up with people. Yeah, so you have to be really careful what you wish for.
It's wonderful when authors come up with an original, interesting idea like that.
Yeah, so it's quite a thick book, and in the beginning I thought, oh, where's this going? But now it's getting really interesting. So I think I will finish it, and I'll let you know in January when we meet again how it's going.
Well, hopefully I'll have my Outlander book
finished. Yes, so we could talk about stuff.
I'll be vaguely interested in your book, Ita, because you lost me at witches and.
No, she's not really a witch.
No, you just mentioned the word. That was enough. This is someone who I never read a word of Harry Potter, never watched any of the movies. I couldn't stand Lord of the Rings and Tolkien.
I love
I'm so anti-fantasy.
See, I grew up with a brother and a father that that's all they read, science fiction and that sort of stuff. So I grew up with Dune and all those ones. So, yeah, for me, that's sort of nostalgia, going back to Lord of the Rings and,
So I was never a fantasy person like Susan until my brother-in-law gave me a book by Raymond Feist called The Magician. And
classic one.
It was classic. I absolutely loved it. I was up most nights reading that story. And so, and then I just picked up a few fantasy sci-fi books here and there, and I've actually really enjoyed them. And I think particularly now, like in the COVID time, I actually find them really enjoying to read because there's such escapism out of everyday life. You know, there's there's possibly murders, but they're just a bit different to your crime novels that you might see on the news every day. And that's why. So I did buy Dune.
Oh, did you?
Because you were talking about that. So
Dune.
Yeah.
Okay. So interesting you should mention that. My ears pricked up because I can go to sleep when you start talking about fantasy and science fiction. But my ears did prick up at that because Peter chose that. We were having trouble choosing a book for our newly acquired grandchild who's 16, who loves robots.
Yeah.
So we wanted to do science fiction with robots, but we couldn't find anything specifically on robots. And Peter saw Dune and said, I love this. This is a classic. I'm going to get this for him. I thought, I probably won't like it.
But it is a classic.
But, maybe it might get him hooked on reading that sort of stuff if it's that good that it stood the test of time.
Yes. I think there's a new release because there's a movie coming out.
So
Oh, well, that's good.
it was their 50th anniversary this year, so they
Yes.
released the movie. They're going to release a movie, and so they've re-released the book. And another fantasy book that I picked up was The Painted Man.
Oh yes,
because you and Jacob were talking about that, and I actually got my sister and brother-in-law.
Oh really?
On that as well. So I think I've got the third book to read over Christmas as
I think
well.
there's 5 in the series. Yeah, I started reading it because Jacob wouldn't shut up about it, and I go, okay, I'll read it.
Yeah.
So Jacob is one of our colleagues, and I loved it.
Yeah.
So then I went on
liking
to
it
the
as
second
well.
one, and then I was telling Kelly about it, so she started reading it, and then you started reading it.
Yeah.
It's probably not the best written book, but it just, like you said, escapism.
That's right. Yeah.
You know.
Page turner.
Yeah.
Like I think they're page turners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I like page turner, so maybe I should broaden my horizon. But
You should give it a go.
Husband Peter just loves science fiction, and he, Star Trek stuff,
Yeah,
all that sort of stuff. He just can watch it end on end and can read all the books like that. I don't get it.
See, he's like my father and my brother. So I grew up with men reading that, and my mum wasn't a reader, so all those books were at home. So that's why I started reading them. And it's fun if you have someone to talk about it.
Yeah. You'll have to shop elsewhere for that. Maybe that might be how I lose him. I might lose him to a beautiful woman who loves science fiction. I better be careful.
I think you're fine.
Yes.
I think we're nearly out of time.
I think we are.
Oh, it is 12.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Geez, we can talk for hours about books.
Yeah. I have a reputation of boring people.
Oh, no.
Talking about books.
That's right. So again, I'll just remind you that we are recording this session. So you can find us on YouTube or at our Central Northern Regional Library website, which is www.cnl.nsw.gov.au. You can also follow Tamworth City Library on Facebook to see the recording. And again, if you just want to listen and not actually see our faces, you can find us on Apple Podcasts and Google Play.
Google Podcasts.
With Book Chat with Ita and Amanda if you love listening to all things books.
Yes.
And we also have a blog at Book Chat where you can get a list of recommendations, see what we've been reading and discussing through our Zoom chats.
And Jonathan has just let me know on our website, the CNRL website, if you go to More Than Books, it will come up on the book chat. If you click on that, it will have all the links to the YouTube video, to the book chat blog, and to our podcast. So if you do go to the podcast, can you please subscribe or put a review so other people can find it easier?
And we also do apologise for that unusual link
today. Yes, so if you missed it because of that link, sorry.
Yeah. But thank you, Susan, for joining us. We had a great discussion of
I have so much more on my to-read list now.
So I guess we'll meet back in February, will we? We'll have the holidays to read and meet back in February?
No, January.
Oh, January. Okay.
When is it? 13th?
Wednesday the 13th of January.
Yes.
Okay.
11.
Yes, we'll do it at 11. So we'll get you the right link.
Yes, that would be great because, I always thought it was me. I thought, what have I done wrong? I tried five times, 5 different ways. I still couldn't get it. I thought, okay, well, maybe there's something else going on here.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
A quirk of nature.
Yes,
I'm glad you made it.
So get your reading challenge in.
Yes,
and
I will.
Good luck.
Thank you.
And have a good Christmas and New Year, and we'll see you in January.
You too, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
See you. Bye.